Hi, and welcome to the Ladies in Biz podcast, where every week we have guests that are amazing female entrepreneurs. Find out how they got started and grew their business. Discover how their story can help you grow your business. Thanks for tuning in today. Here is your host, Penny Redmond.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Ladies in Biz. And this week we're super excited because we have an amazing guest. As normal, we have Sarah Taylor on with us today. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing on this cold day?
I'm great. How are you? I know it's freezing here in Toronto. I'm so over it already.
I know. And we really haven't had that big cold winter this year. It's just kind of been all at once, right? So
yeah.
Not ready.
My whole family is down south right now too, and so they're all on a cruise. So I'm a little jealous.
Oh, I would be too. I am jealous. So what I wanted to do at the very beginning was just to share with our audience a little bit about your background, and so I'm going to just read a short bio on who you are.
Yeah.
So here's what you are. It's always so amazing when you hear who you are, right? You go, really? That's me?
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is you, and it really is genuinely you. You're a certified personal trainer, plus size model, motivational speaker, blogger, former Miss Plus Canada, and a special project editor for Fabuplus magazine. But more importantly, this is what I love about you, is your mission. Your mission is to help women on their journey to their best lives, body, mind, and soul. And I really think that pretty much covers off who you are.
Yeah. All in a nutshell. Yeah.
I know, one sentence really covers it off. I think when I have other guests on and I read their bios are wonderful and everything as well and who they are, but yours is definitely the essence of who you are. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to let the listeners know that we met, I think it was last spring. Was it last spring? We were outside, sitting outside in this near the lake, and it was a hot, warm, sunny evening. It was just beautiful out.
Yeah.
And at that time, I don't know if you remember our conversation, but you said then you wanted to have your own studio and you were going through the motions back then.
Yeah.
And I think I shared with you that my dream was definitely having a podcast to be able to share with other women stories about other entrepreneurs and how they've, done well in their business, or not even done well. Sometimes it's just learning how to do their business.
Yeah.
So both of us have had our dreams realized because you opened your studio. That was in December was your soft opening, and your hard opening was in January, right?
Last week. Yeah. Yeah.
Last week.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning, we always ask our guests if they can just give us a little bit of an indication of their story and their entrepreneurial story.
Okay, so I'll give you my story in a really nutshell to lead into my entrepreneurial story. So I grew up as a pastor's kid, but was bullied heavily in school, which really played the role in having a really low self-esteem. Ended up, my parents divorced at 21 and was super vulnerable, and met somebody who told me I was beautiful. He was the first man to tell me I was beautiful, and I thought that's all that mattered. And as a result, it was like I almost thought it didn't matter how he treated me. So we ended up getting married. He was super abusive, super controlling. I pretty much lost all of who I was, and my self-confidence was even worse. And I finally woke up one day and said, I can't live in this pain any longer. I can't do another day of it. And so I read him everything I had written while he was at work and said, you can either change or you can go, because I can't do this. And so he left. And it was a few months back and forth. And finally I was just like, no. This is like done. And so then I started the journey to self-love. At the same time, I also lost my job. The company I worked for went bankrupt. So I had no marriage. I had no job. I had to rely on my mom to help me pay my bills. And I had worked really hard at my career. So it was really hard, but I had 4 solid months to focus on me and go on that journey to self-love. 2 years into my healing journey, my mom says, okay, it's time to stop surviving. It's time to start dreaming. So I write a dream board, and on it, I put plus size modeling amongst a bunch of other things, but I erased plus size modeling 3 times before it stuck. Well, few months later, I had my first opportunity, then another opportunity, and then I got an email, are you the next Miss Plus Canada? And so I filled out the application, went to the pageant. I was told I wouldn't win. I'm covered in tattoos. I had never runway walked. I had no idea how to pose. I was actually horrible in front of the camera. And I ended up winning Queen, People's Choice, and Talent. Now, the talent portion was really cool because it was the first time I actually shared my story and what I had gone through in public. And the reception of it was like crazy amazing. And it was at that moment where I was like, okay, my purpose is to not sit down and keep my mouth shut on what happened, but be a voice for other women. So Sarah Taylor's journey was birthed the next day. My first day as queen was actually the day that I met my ex-husband. So that date was redeemed. And I just started inspiring women. So legit, when I started, it was, I posted mirror selfies of my outfit with an inspiring quote. I started blogging my outfits. Then I started working with more photographers, which led to me doing runway in New York and in Trinidad, being on the Dr. Oz show with Ashley Graham, modeling for Canadian and US campaigns. And it became this thing where I was like, okay, my purpose is greater than just modeling. It was just a platform, but let me put my toe in starting a business, because I ran my modeling as a business. And I was like, I need to figure out another way to do this full time where I can really help women, body, mind, and soul, with their whole lives. So I ended up certifying as a personal trainer at the end of 2017, and launching Fitness by Sarah Taylor. My first studio opened in March of 2018, so last year. And it's evolved, and I've just opened a second location that's my actual studio. So my logo is on the wall. It is downtown at at Bloor and Bathurst area, right across from Christie Pitt Parks. And my approach to fitness is different. So I work with women of all fitness levels. So you can do class at all levels. I show different modifications. So it's super welcoming. You're not having to ask for modifications, but you can if you need further ones. I also focus on confidence and self-love in conjunction with fitness. So for example, during our stretching portion, there's always a time of reflection and a time of sharing. So I'll share a quote, ask a question, and women will share. So when you leave your workout, you feel one, oh, wow, I did a whole workout and I can handle it. And then number two, you feel good in your heart, and it helps you walk in that path to confidence and self-love, because you can work out all you want. You can have all the goals you want, but until you actually deal with who you are and learning to love yourself, it doesn't matter, because you can have all these goals and maybe reach them, but still feel a little empty. And I've gone through that. So it's really helping women to capture it all, and really learn to love themselves and take care of themselves, body, mind, and soul, without what society says we're supposed to look like or how much we're supposed to weigh. Your measuring stick really becomes how you feel.
Well, I think that taking on that approach is definitely vastly different than what you would see in some other studios. And I mean, that's why so many people have these New Year's resolutions. They go and they work out, and then, by the end of January, they're not there. But your approach is a life-changing approach for women.
Yeah.
And that's why, they come to you and they stay with you, because they learn it's not just about the physical part of you. It is your body, mind, and soul.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it all has to be fed.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's so many things when it comes to like diet culture and don't eat this and don't eat that. And if you can change your relationship with food, where it's food fuels your body to do the amazing things you want it to do, it becomes different. Right. And you're not focusing on it. You're not obsessing over it. You're living and it allows you to live your life, to do what you want. Like for me, if I had not started that journey to self-love and really seeing how amazing I was, and I like actually had an epiphany day that I can remember, my life would be entirely different. Like all of the things that I have done is out of that place of learning to love myself.
Sarah, do you feel because of the way that you think today and how your life changed, that because of your positivity, that it also sort of, you meet more people that are positive minded?
Yeah, I really believe in where you're at. So some people will call it a vibration of like wherever you're vibing at, you're going to attract people who are like-minded. So for example, I'm an influencer. I have about 60,000 Instagram followers on my personal account. And I can count on my hand how many times I've had like people make nasty comments and bullying. And a lot of plus size models and influencers get it really, really, really bad. But I haven't had it, because a lot of what I put out, all of what I put out is positive. I will share the days that I have bad days, because I don't want people to think like I have a perfect life. I don't. But at the same time, it's in a positive light. It's not putting out the negative, and it is switching the conversation to look things in a positive light. And because that's how I look at things, it's what I attract. The clients that I attract are like that, and they want more for their lives. The people that I meet, like you, like meeting you, that kind of thing as well. I meet so many amazing women, especially who are in that place of like women bosses, badasses who want so much for themselves as well as other people. So I definitely think it makes a difference when you're in that headspace, who you attract. Also, when it comes to relationships, right?
Absolutely. That goes without saying, for sure.
Yeah. So it is important for so many reasons to be in a good headspace, so that you're attracting all those kinds of things into your life. And it helps keep some of the bad stuff away, in all honesty.
For sure. And you know what, one of the things, I'm going to go back and just, because I'm always amazed when I see your numbers on Instagram, and you know, I love Instagram. Like, I use it for business, but I personally love Instagram. In fact, we were just laughing because when we were getting started, I mentioned to you that I was almost late because I was too busy watching one of your stories, and you were bringing some women through a workout. I'm going, oh, that's how you do it. That is so cool. That is so much fun. Anyway, but so you are an influencer, and one of the things that you have two accounts on Instagram. So one is the Sarah Taylor's Journey.
Yep.
And which you've had for a long time, right? That's been
since 2014.
2014. Yep. And also then you have Fitness by Sarah Taylor, which is just new actually, but you've had over 1,400 followers on that.
Yeah.
And I'm not big on the numbers, and we're Instagrammer girls, so we know that it's not the followers that we're looking for. It's definitely the engagement. You know, people are reacting to what we're providing them.
Yeah.
And, but I will say that even with your numbers as a percentage to your followers, you have a really high percent of people that react every time to your post. Like even the one for Sarah Taylor's Journey, you can have anywhere from the lowest is really 200, but right up to 800 people every time liking your post. Like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the more naked I am, in all honesty, so when I post lingerie stuff, I get way more response, which is why I've kind of pulled back from doing the lingerie, because I'm not about just like, I mean, for me, when it's lingerie, it's like, learn to love who you are and showing that reflection, that kind of thing. But I also want to be careful to put a positive message out for, especially my young audience, because I speak at a lot of schools. So some grade 8 girls, I don't necessarily need to have them seeing that. But also engagement has changed in the last little while, because it used to be very different with all the different algorithms and all that as well.
Yeah, I do tons of testing. I have 2 accounts, and I do testing on both of them. And sometimes I use it like testing A, testing B. Yeah. And just to see what happens. And yeah, there is a lot going on. Yeah. And it isn't the same as before where you can do massive numbers or followers. But what I do like about the algorithms is I do feel as though that the people are looking at my posts are the ones that are truly interested.
Yeah, it's true, 100%. Yeah, and they're regular commenters, they're regular likers, and they're regularly engaging or sending a DM or responding to your stories. And those are the ones you know you're making a difference with, right? And that's what it comes down to for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, me too as well. And I mean, I'm not in your field at all. I just started, I think my own business ones were probably, well, for Furtura, it was probably maybe last November or something like that, where it wasn't a hobby. I started really having a strategy and definitely knew what I wanted to do with the actual Instagram. But so do you do you have a marketing plan or a strategy behind both of those or either one? Because now your emphasis really is on, as well, I guess, Fitness by Sarah, right? Well, at least your focus is today, because you're getting the studio up, and I mean, that's a massive amount of work to do that.
Yeah. So I would say that I did not really have a strategy before. I just kind of like tried to make a bunch of content. I work with a lot of photographers. So Sarah Taylor's Journey was I just want to inspire as much as I can. And so I was doing a post a day. With the business, it's kind of shifted my time, obviously. So I haven't as much, but my goal was for January to get the studio up and going, which it is. And then for February, there will be more of a strategy in terms of like what I'll be posting in the content. So putting out more blogs on what people are looking to hear. Like I did a story a couple weeks ago on my food prep, and I got the most DMs I've ever gotten. I probably think about anything, just because people were like, how do you food prep? What do you do? And how many days is it for? And so that for me is great. Cause I'm like, oh, now I can do a blog on that. Right. And so, I also have hired an agency to help me with some of the content creation and the strategy behind it. And they're actually managing a lot of my social ads.
Perfect. And
so they are managing, they're putting on, sorry?
I was going to say, I saw your post as well, and I'm going, what is she cooking? How many trays does she have?
It was 35, I think it was 30. Yeah, it was 7 days with 5 meals a day. So it was 35, and I did it in 3 hours.
Wow. So you're definitely going to do a blog on that, because I'll read that one for sure.
Yeah.
So everyone that's listening, can you imagine creating that many meals? And it was like massive. It was just like, oh my goodness.
But for an entrepreneur, because I knew what I was going into with how busy my weeks were going to be with opening, it was so easy, because it was like those 3 hours I did for the week, and then all my food was ready. So for me as an entrepreneur, now that I've quit my job, that's the other thing, I left in December. I now have to structure my days. So planning my days of when I'm going to work out, when I'm going to do the work that I need to do. I have a 4-page to-do list that's constantly running. I don't want to have to think about my food through the week. So for me, it's setting myself up as an entrepreneur as well, of making sure I can hit my goals and be dedicating as much time to my business as I can.
Well, I think healthy eating makes a big difference on how your whole attitude in life. I'm a very that at starting work on my to-do list early in the morning, and continuing working and not realizing that it's noon and I haven't eaten.
Exactly.
You know, that is the worst thing you could ever do to your body, because you're starving it. Your brain doesn't even work as well. Like I may not notice it then, but as soon as I get up, I realize, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry, and my poor brain needs food.
Yeah. Exactly. So, so I've hired this agency that's going to help me, that has started to help me. So a lot of my videos that you've seen on my social, they've done, and I'm absolutely in love with them. And so everything is based around the journey to self-love. So that is basically my marketing strategy and campaigning, because that's the essence of who I am and what I do. So going into February, there will be a lot more structure in terms of my social content and calendar, and they'll all be intertwined. So Sarah Taylor's Journey, Fitness by Sarah Taylor, as well as both blogs. I still want to keep the fashion in there, because a lot of women are like, how do I dress? Where do I buy this stuff?
Absolutely.
That kind of thing as well. So the priority has definitely been shifted to, I need to get my business up and going and people in the doors. And I had 50 women through the doors last week, because I offered a free week for the grand opening special. So that was really exciting. Had some really full classes and really great vibes, and people were loving the classes. So going into February, again, it will be that I can structure things a little bit differently, and I'll have a different theme for each month as well. So I've kind of branded the 12 pillars of self-love and confidence, which are 12 things I personally walk through in my self-love journey. And I'm going to kind of, each month will be around that sort of, that focus for that month.
Well, I remember you did, was it a 21-day challenge?
Yeah.
Yes. So you did a 21-day challenge on Instagram. Did you do that on Facebook as well?
Not as much, because engagement's a little more difficult to manage on Facebook. So I mostly drove people to Instagram. But I will be launching also a 30-day challenge that will be a combination of fitness and the self-love piece. So you'll have videos on a workout a couple times a week, and then you'll also have a video on one of the 12 pillars. So it'll be a 30-day challenge that you can do anywhere in the world, basically.
So you've chosen to do more Instagram because of the engagement and less engagement in Facebook. I found the same.
Well, I find also too, I mean, even though there's a lot of like creepers on Instagram, I find on Facebook, especially my Sarah Taylor's Journey, I think I've got 25,000 followers on that account on Facebook, but a lot of them are like from Cairo, and it's not like people aren't responding to it as much. So I find that the engagement, I know for sure my audience is on Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I find that too, that how I've done for Instagram, when I started using the geolocation a lot more,
Yeah.
that I found that I got a better reach of people that were definitely, live by me and more
Mhm.
likely to be connected with me more than just in Instagram, or if
Yeah.
actually as a
Yeah.
client or something like
Yeah.
that as well. And it's really
So
helpful.
I'm still present in Facebook. So I still post there. I still reach out to people in groups and that kind of thing as well. But I would say that my main focus is definitely the Instagram, and that's where I see most people like going back and forth with me and being engaged with me.
Well, I think that with the stories, it's made it so much more fun too, because there's so many things you can do with stories.
Yeah.
And I know I was working with a client just going over stories and going, well, you don't even have to create a video. You can actually just use your posts that you've had, and
Yeah.
you can share it right in your stories. It's just
Exactly.
fun, and then you can write things and you can have fun with it. And
Mhm.
it is quite amazing what you can do with them.
Yeah.
And it gives you a creative outlook, I think. It gives you an
I agree.
opportunity to have fun.
Yeah, I would say that I get my most engagement on stories too. Like that's where I get a lot of DMs and people responding to my stories and what I'm posting. Like yesterday's class, so I did a hip hop dance class. I do that on 2 Sundays a month at the studio, and people were going nuts over it because it was so much fun to watch. Like I didn't do the class because I was working on some things, but I couldn't stop smiling just watching the girls like having fun. One of the girls was like, "This is like recess. Like I feel like a kid again." I'm like, "That's what fitness should be." So really cool.
Do you find now, because you were an Instagrammer from way back, from the
Mhm.
2014, where you could go viral, because there was more of an opportunity to be able to do that. But do
Mhm.
you find, I know we talked about the engagement so much, it is so important, but still for some women that are entrepreneurs that want to be influencers, it is very difficult for them to get those numbers now for followers.
It is really difficult. So I've kind of been stuck at 59,000 for quite some time, I would say, because the algorithms are so different and people aren't seeing things as much. Like I also, so when I was at 4,800 Instagram followers, I was in Cuba with my mom, and this was, I guess, 2016. And I posted a photo of a side by side of me and Ashley Graham. And I bought a swimsuit because she looked so good in it. So I did a post and I was like, on the left is Ashley Graham, who I aspire to be, and on the right is just me and whatever. Anyway, she liked that photo, just liked it. She didn't comment on it. She did nothing. And I'm not exaggerating. The next 48 hours, my phone did not stop and I hit 10,000 followers.
Oh,
That's
wow.
over 5,000 followers in 48 hours. That's just from a like. That's not from her reposting it. And then she ended up reposting a couple of my photos. So then that bumped me up some more as well. But now it's been a lot harder to build that engagement. And a lot of people have bought followers. That is something I have not done, and I do not recommend. They are shutting accounts down that are doing that, and it's not worth it. You don't want, like, there's no point in having it for the numbers. You want people who are engaged. You want people, and I always looked at it as I wanted as a platform to make a difference. It's not really just about like, ooh, she's got this, right? Like
Yeah,
I want to make a difference, and but it's definitely a lot harder now than it was when I first started, because I started with 112 followers.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that was just like my friends who I had on Facebook, basically. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing though.
Yeah.
Are you going to be moving into HGTV then, or IGTV, I should say, Instagram TV?
I
Videos?
I feel like people aren't really watching them.
Yeah, not yet.
No, not yet. So I think over time I want to kind of be doing everything and make videos that I can put on a few different platforms. So that would mean YouTube. That would mean because I think with what I do, like people like photos, yeah, but I think my voice, not like how I sound, but what I represent, is what challenges women for more in their lives, and I get such good reception on it, and they don't have to be long, right? But I think for me, because I'm such a talker, like blogging was great for me because I could type it all, but nobody reads it anymore, right? So it really is like for me to have that video content because I can get my message across much quicker, and I'm so passionate that it comes across, and that's probably the direction that I'll be going.
Yeah, and I mean, statistics show that definitely Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, well, YouTube obviously always has been, but they're definitely putting more preference onto stories. So
Yeah.
you're probably, I think someone said, well, are you going to get more followers by doing stories versus just regular posts? And really, it doesn't matter. It depends on what the people that like you want to have. Do they want to have a video, or do they prefer to have a post?
Yeah.
So
Are they spending time scrolling, or are they not? Like, are they on their phones? Are they going to see your stories? Like, there's some people who, like, I'm attached to my phone. It's right here. Like, I go nowhere without it. And so I'm on it all the time, but there are some people who go on like once or twice a week. So for them, it would be a post.
Yeah, and it depends on your ideal client, right? As well, if you're and what their preference is. So, but I find that for one of the things that I always think is interesting was on Instagram, and how if you do a video and they give you views, and it looks like you go, oh my God, I had so many views. And then you do a post that is non-video and it just has likes. You go, what happened?
Yeah, no, it's true. I know. It's so true. I know I've had some videos that have had like 30,000 views, like mostly like runway stuff, right? But it's, and then you see a picture that's next to it wearing the same thing. And, but again, for me, I guess it's, I try not to look at it because it can become obsessive in terms of like how many people are watching and how many people are viewing. And like, I'm also trialing things. So even on Fitness by Sarah Taylor. So last week I did, I made some pretty stories. So I used Canva. And I put like what classes were for the day and sign up for free. And it doesn't result in a lot. I will keep trying for a bit and testing a few different things to see how people respond. But finding the most effective way for people to want to buy in to your business, that's kind of where I'm trying to put my focus. Because I know what I have is different than other places. And so I've also found through all of this that people just want to see authenticity. They don't want to see something fake. So for example, we've done a lot of videos that are snippets of me answering questions on self-love and the self-love journey. And response hasn't been the greatest, a little bit of engagement, but not a lot. But I posted yesterday, the girl's doing a hip hop dance class and it's like through the roof, and comments like crazy and DMs and people signing up right away to try the next class, right? So it is the balance of having something professional looking and a proper strategy, but also not losing your authenticity, because people want to connect with who you are.
I agree, totally. The other thing is it's so hard to know what's right or wrong on Instagram because there's so many variables that play a part.
Yeah.
The time that you actually post it, what day of the week it is. Is it like a day like this where everyone doesn't want to leave the house and they might be looking at Instagram?
Yeah.
Or is it Christmas Day when, nobody cares what you're going to be posting on Christmas Day? Now, I say that about your clientele, but another client that I had, because it was males 18 to 35, Christmas Day was an amazing day because they weren't cooking the turkeys.
Right. So they're sitting around waiting for their turkey to be cooked.
That's right. So again, there's so many variables in Instagram, and all you can do, just like you said, testing.
Yeah.
And and it's not going to ever be perfect or right, but you at least can get a better understanding what your clients or what your ideal person that's watching you or connecting with you responds to.
Yeah. I think the other thing too, for me, that's a balance is like, I still have followers who are not local, so they're never going to come to my gym. But if I can inspire somebody who's at home to get moving and feel better, or take a step in the direction of their journey to self-love, I'm all for that as well. It's not just like about feeding my business. It's legit my passion. It is my life's work. It is what I was created for. So if there's any way that I can inspire and encourage people, I know that I'm living my purpose. And that for me is what it comes down to. I want to make a living and I want to be successful, and I will get there. It's going to take time. But I mean, things are happening and I have to keep that in the forefront of my mind and not be afraid to just be extra and give people things that they don't pay for, because at the end of the day, I just want to make a difference in the world. That's what it comes down to for me.
Well, you certainly are making a difference in the world. And your hip hop one, I'm going to go back to your hip hop one and I'll let you know how I responded to it. And I looked at it and I went, you know what? On this cold day, I just got to get going. I got to move. And I thought, what great music. I've got to go and put on some great music to get me motivated, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, even though, you know, you've motivated me to be better, which is, and take more care of myself as well. So that makes it
That's really cool.
Can you give me a little bit of an understanding when you decided to open up your own studio? Like, where did you begin?
Okay, it did not happen on purpose. So none of this happened on purpose, which is the funny part of it. It was also like my modeling career, doors opened that I never knocked on. So like I didn't approach Dr. Oz. They found me on Instagram, right? So, and I didn't know that I was going to be on a show with Ashley Graham. They surprised me, right? So a lot of that just kind of happened. So with this, I decided I was going to certify. The chiropractor I worked with was, hey, we just took over the lease in our building on the gym. Maybe you can run classes out of our space and we'll do a profit split. I was like, okay, cool. Not thinking much of it. Got in a car accident that day. Somebody, a big, huge like a dump truck hit me legit as I left the office that day. So I also got in an accident the week of Miss Plus Canada. So as much as I don't like the idea of like an accident happening before something big happens, it kind of has happened and it is what it is. I was fine. It was just damage to my car. I had an extra couple therapy sessions. So that was that. And it just started to like grow. So that was in December. And then I opened in March officially, the first one. And then I just kept getting so much requests for downtown because the location I'm in right now is in the West End. And so it's not necessarily TTC accessible, but really great for people who live in the area. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go. I actually went to a business retreat and realized my magic and my love is group fitness. It's not, I like personal training, but I love group fitness because it's the community aspect for women. So first of all, that decision was made. That was the end of September. Went to Vegas on a retreat. Came back and decided, okay, I'm going to go look for some studio rentals that I can rent by the hour in the city. So I went to look on Kijiji, found 2 studios. One was a yoga, one was a dance. Show up to one, I had the completely wrong address, completely wrong. So the guy's like, I'm standing outside the door. I'm like, I'm in the wrong place. Sorry to bother you. So while I was there, I saw 2 other places that were for lease. I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool area and it's really busy. And so I looked at those. They were too expensive. So I went home. And I was like, okay, let me get on MLS and let me look up some places. My boyfriend's a real estate agent. So I found this place. I sent it to him right away. And I was like, hey, can you book an appointment for us to go see it? So we went in and just before he opened the door, I was like, I'm telling you right now, if this is what it looks like in the photos, we're putting in an offer today. And he was like, what? Like, I've never heard you talk like this. I was like, I'm just telling you because the price was right. It looked super nice. And so we went in and I was like, okay, we're putting in an offer. And he's like, whoa. So we put in an offer. I legit dropped off the deposit check the night before we left for Jamaica because we had already had a trip planned. We came back and I was like, I have no idea how I'm doing this. First of all, I was still working part-time. I worked for a software company doing fundraising for nonprofits and I had transitioned to part-time this past year. And I was like, no idea how I'm doing this. Then a business coach that I had worked with, the Radical Connector, she was like, hey, have you ever heard of Furturpreneur? I was like, no, what is that? So basically it's a nonprofit that works with entrepreneurs who are 18 to 49, and they help get you funding. So a $45,000 loan with good standing credit, and they pair you with a mentor for 2 years. So I went through that process, and within 4 weeks, I had my $45,000 in my bank account. Had to go through, like, there's a lot of work to go into it. So I had to like write a business plan and a 2-year financial forecast and go through a lot of questions, and they had to check my credit. And a week and a half after I had the keys to the place, I had all the money. So that's how I've taken out a lot to do this. There's no doubt, obviously, it's a fitness studio. Found a contractor who did all my work. Everything was done before opening. Super happy with the work. He had better ideas on the renovations because I wanted to put in a shower and a change room. And now we're here, and I opened last Tuesday. And so the other thing about opening on Tuesday, so people are like, why are you opening on Tuesday and not a Monday? Diets start on Mondays. And I was like, first of all, we're going against diet culture. The other thing was January 15th, 9 years ago, is the day I got married. So that's another day that got completely redeemed. January 15th will no longer be the day I got married. It was the day I opened my second studio. Right? So there's lots of purpose behind all of it, but honestly, it was like when you are on the path that you're supposed to be, things start happening. Yeah, there's roadblocks, and I have had roadblocks, like not gonna lie, but things are happening. And be diligent and know what you're supposed to do, and take each step with confidence as you go, in the direction of your dreams, in the direction of your purpose. And things will happen. Like the doors that have opened have been crazy. Like I've just met people. I met the branding agency. I mean, my boyfriend actually has been super helpful through this. Contractor was someone who he knew, branding agency, someone he knew. And to have a partner that like helps you with your purpose. Like he knew that this was the busiest week yesterday, and I was at the studio all day working. I come home and he's like upset with me, and I'm like, what is wrong? And then I look around, I was like, whoa, the dishes are done. The floor is swept. He fully like cleaned my condo because he knew how busy of a week it was. Right. So to have a partner that's supportive is amazing, and who is an entrepreneur as well and understands the hustle. So I'm very grateful.
Definitely. Well, you have to have the other, we're just the last podcast, we're with Tracy Bessett, and she is a financial guru. She understands everything to do with financing, and she actually helps young people just manage their business and start their businesses off really well on the right foot. But we both said the support system is so important when you start a business. It's not just friends and family, it's everyone around you.
Yeah.
You have to be supportive.
Yeah. And that's one of my pillars is having boundaries and having the right people in your tribe. I call it your tribe. So the people who are going to be there on the days that are hard, and who help you set up for launch parties and listen to your crazy ideas and also challenge you at the same time.
Sarah, you mentioned about the association that helped you with getting your business started and with the loans. What we'll do at the bottom of the show is we'll put that link in for everybody else, so that anyone that's listening that's interested, so they can connect with that association.
Yeah. Honestly, if it wasn't for that, I don't know how I would have done this. You would have done it. I would have, but it was a way that helped me do it super fast. Like from start to fit, like within a month and a half, everything was set up and ready to go from the day that I decided that I was going to do it.
So at the very end of every podcast, we always ask our guests to just give us a message that you would want to tell every entrepreneur, that every entrepreneur should hear it, so that they know they can be successful.
I would say follow your dreams and dream bigger. For me, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am. And I think we can limit ourselves a lot when we don't allow ourselves to dream. You got to put in the work to get there. And I think as an entrepreneur, you know that going into it. But part of it is dreaming. Allow that creative side to come in to help you build your business as well. Because when you can start thinking about your client's journey and how you want to make a difference in their lives, whatever service or product you're bringing to it, it allows you to tap into a lot of different things and helps you build your strategy. But I would say dream massively and keep dreaming. Don't get to a place where you stop dreaming. And if you get to a place where you feel stagnant, dream some more. Take that time out to dream and think big and allow it to blossom. That's probably what I would say.
I think you're so right. I think if you don't have that vision and that dream ahead, and I think it goes for all age groups, it comes from when you're just a child right through adulthood, is that you can never stop dreaming. You know, if you stop dreaming, then you haven't got something to look forward to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one of the things as well on the podcast we really like, I know people will want to connect with you. So we've talked about your 2 Instagram accounts, which is Sarah Taylor's Journey, and as well as Fitness by Sarah Taylor. But you have a website as well, which was it www?
fitnessbysarahtaylor.com and Sarah Taylor's Journey. Everything is super easy. Also for listeners who are in Toronto and interested, if you go to fitnessbysarahtaylor.com/free class, free week, all one word, you can try a week for me for free.
And the address again for your location downtown?
693 Bloor Street West. So it's at the corner of Bloor and Clinton.
Yeah, and it's close to a subway station.
Yeah, it's right across the street from Christie.
Yeah, so no reason for no one to come and visit you as well, which is good. And just drop in to at least say hi. And take
Yeah,
one of your hip hop classes. They look like fun.
they are a lot of fun.
I know you're super busy. You've just opened up your studio and you've got 100 million things on your list. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to all of us and to share what you've learned in your story and to help us a little bit understanding Instagram and what's it like to open up a studio. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we connected. I get close to a year, I guess, since we connected. So it's nice to be able to do something like this. So thank you for what you do for entrepreneurs and being so encouraging. It's meant a lot of my journey.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Ladies in Biz. Send us your comments on ladiesinbiz.com. We would like to hear from you.